Welcome to the Sugarcane Entomology Field Day Stop. I'm Blake Wilson, the LSU Ag Center Sugarcane and Rice Entomologist, and I'll try to briefly cover some of the various research activities we have going on at the station examining integrated pest management of sugarcane insects. The key pests of sugarcane here in Louisiana are two lepidopteran stem borers. The sugarcane boar is the long-established species, which has been the primary pest of sugarcane in the state for more than 100 years. The Mexican rice borer is the emerging pest, which has been infesting sugarcane for only about 10 years in the state and is currently advancing eastward throughout the industry. Both pests enter sugarcane in a similar fashion. The larvae will bore into stalks and feed internally, preventing the flow of nutrients up towards the growing portions of the plant. And this is highly injurious in terms of yield loss. If left unmanaged, severe infestations can cause up to 30% yield losses. And the test behind me is a cultivar resistance test. We know that there are significant differences in terms of susceptibility to both pests among sugarcane cultivars or varieties, with highly susceptible varieties often having levels of injury which are greater than 5-fold more than resistant varieties. And so resistance plays a big part in our management approach, and often a resistant variety under commercial conditions will not require any insecticidal protection. That's certainly the case very often with our most widely planted variety in the state, L01-299, which is resistant and very often doesn't require insecticide. And this has greatly reduced the amount of insecticide we're applying throughout the industry. And one thing you'll notice that's different about my tests among some of the others here on the station is that I've got corn intercropped on every 4th row. And the reason we do this is to create conditions of enhanced pest pressure with high sugarcane borer populations. We achieve that by planting the corn in the spring, and then we'll inoculate every plant in this field with laboratory reared sugarcane borer larvae, very newly hatched larvae. Over a period of about 4 weeks, that they'll cycle through the corn, with moths then emerging from the corn as it starts to tassel and then senesce. And then those moths will go and lay eggs among our sugarcane plots. The reason we do this is that high pest pressure allows us to easily separate susceptible varieties from resistant ones and creates more reliable field research conditions. The varieties here in the test are commercial varieties as well as experimental lines in the varietal development program. We test the lines that will be considered for release over the next 3 years, so we have 3 years of data prior to the release of any new varieties in terms of sugarcane borer resistance. Now, the test we're doing here is just sugarcane borer. We have a similar test in Beaumont, Texas, with some cooperators with Texas A&M that's examining resistance to the Mexican rice borer. And the reason we do that is because the Mexican rice borer is not present in this part of the state, and so we can't do any of our research with that insect here on the station. The rice borer has been advancing eastward into the state for the past 15 years, and all that movement has been monitored through the use of these pheromone traps. The pheromone traps use a female sex pheromone lure, which attracts male moths, and it's highly efficient in detecting populations even at very low densities, such as in areas where the pest has only recently become established. And we've had a industry-wide monitoring effort that's monitored expansion into the sugarcane producing regions. We now know that the pest is widely established throughout the Teche production region along the Bayou Teche. as well as the upper river parishes, including Point Capee and West Baton Rouge. Last year, we detected new expansion into the central Louisiana sugarcane region, including Rapides and Avoyelles Parish. And we're currently monitoring along the Mississippi River. Currently, we haven't had any detections east of the Mississippi. It's not clear whether or not that the river poses a significant geographical barrier, but so far we haven't seen expansion beyond that. And that monitoring is going to be ongoing as the pest continues to infest new sugarcane regions. We've also got a number of different research projects examining some of the more sporadic pests of sugarcane. One of those we're trying to expand into is wireworms. Wireworms are historically kind of a neglected group of insects from a research standpoint because they're soil insects and they're hard to sample for, and research is difficult, and so they're very poorly understood. But this year we've got some cooperation with industry partners as well as some IR4 funding to examine potential new insecticides for wireworm control. The current registered project is Thimet. It's an older chemistry. It's organophosphate, which tends to be harsh on natural enemy populations as well as hazardous to the applicator. And so we're hoping we can identify some new effective products that can potentially be registered down the road in the next few years. And so I appreciate your attention and hope you've enjoyed the video.